Hello and welcome back to this damnful idealistic crusade. I wanted to briefly go over my recent pickups and order from the always wonderful and incredible Hamilton book, or Hamilton books, I should say. They are an incredible, wonderful small business that deals in not just books, but also all forms of media from DVDs, Blu-ray, 4K UHD to music CDs as well. They are primarily selling things that are uh, basically being, I think, technically cleared out of inventory. Also, some, I guess, technically some remainder books and things. But this allows them to sell, again, primarily books at a enormous discount. And with their flat rate shipping, which is always wonderfully packed and shipped out very quickly, they're just an incredible company to deal with. And if you pay attention to their new arrivals and their various price drops and things, you can find some things you've been looking for a very long time for absurdly cheap. And on top of that, sometimes you'll find a lot of limited releases or things that have gone out of print elsewhere pop up there for a brief window. But because supplies are limited, they will, disappear more quickly than you might think. So it's one of those situations where if you see something you're really interested in, don't leave it in your cart for too long. And they also focus now much more on DVDs, Blu-rays, and UHDs because a lot of fellow physical media collectors have been buying from them for some time, and they do have actual company representatives who do post on various online forums and actually discuss the business with customers and get direct customer feedback. So you even have that sort of direct connection, and their level of care is such that for particular items, everything they put on their website, they're not using stock photos. They're actually taking their own photos of the items themselves. And if you're curious if something like say a Blu-ray has the slipcover or not, they will actually go and check for you if you post in this forum, and they will literally let you know, oh well, these have slipcovers, these do not. And it's like, where do you get that level of quality service elsewhere? I don't know. So I always love supporting them and ordering from them. And just recently, they uploaded a whole bunch of new arrivals that included a big swath of boutique label titles, particularly titles from Arrow Video at extreme discounts. I did post about this on the community tab to try and let people know who might have been looking for some of these titles. And then I had to try to not order way too much because I have to hold myself back. I know my cart grows massive, and then my wish list is enormous. But the longer you wait, you will miss out on things. So I did pick up a stack of items that I did want to go over very briefly because if I can ever support these guys in any way possible, I try to do so. And if you have any book or media needs, I strongly encourage you to check out Hamilton Books because you never know what's going to pop up there. And when things do pop up there, the discounts are extreme. So first up is the one of the Arrow UHDs I've been really wanting to check out, which is their recent release of Flatliners on 4K UHD with this beautiful artwork and the original slipcover. It's loaded with extras. This, I think, is actually a really beautifully shot film during the original, still during the film era, shot on film, finished on film. And I really like the look of the original letterbox Laserdisc, even though it's an old LD with a slightly noisy transfer. It seems like a direct print scan almost. It has a nice vivid quality to it. And unfortunately, the previous Blu-rays were really crummy, and Sony never really put effort into spiffing this film up or giving it any extras. And then it was handed to Mill Creek, which is like the kiss of death almost for home video transfers. But Arrow did a brand new 4K scan, Dolby Vision grading, and the works in terms of packaging and extras. So I've just been really wanting to check this out because I know this will look stunning. Hamilton also occasionally stocks some Classicflix titles. So I was stunned to see that they had added the Centennial Collection for the Little Rascals restorations that Classicflix has spearheaded and done. They originally did individual volumes and then did a bonus features disc. And then once all those were done, they were able to collect them in this single 6-disc package. So this is really the version you want to go for. And this was put on Hamilton Books and is significantly cheaper than other retailers. And of course, once these run through, Classicflix can't keep these in print forever. So I've also really been wanting to see these restorations for myself, but I knew they were going to do a complete set, so I decided to wait for this instead of the individual volumes. And before this point, these shorts have not had love or care put into them outside of being packaged up for Laserdisc and DVD, really. And just some of the comparisons and clips that they have posted of these restorations they did already show the astounding difference between the how these shorts have been treated before and what you're looking at here. Plus, this has a whole disc of brand new bonus features. So if you're interested in this, I do highly suggest checking it out because these shorts have never had this type of TLC put into them. Probably the biggest and most surprising thing in this latest update on Hamilton Books, in the Arrow section in particular, was their inclusion of the limited Shaw Scope Volume 1 of the Shaw Brothers restorations and films that Arrow started doing. So they've now done their second volume, and I think they're working on a third. But this is Volume 1. These are limited edition box sets, and this was marked down absurdly cheap. In fact, it was so cheap that I've seen maybe one or two Shaw films over time, really more of their partnership with Hammer and other entities, but I've never really gone into the whole Shaw Brothers filmography like other people are such dedicated fans of. So I was kind of on the fence in terms of this release because I didn't know if it would really grab my attention, although it seemed like it was filled with a lot of attention and care, and the packaging looks lovely. But then when it popped up here on Hamilton Books in this latest new arrivals for under $60, and this is regularly I think like $120 or $130 list price, and I'm sure it's probably getting close to being sold out now. I couldn't believe it. So this is a big 10-disc set with deluxe packaging and tons of extras and new scans for all the films. So yeah, I couldn't resist, and I think this actually did sell out just after I ordered it, so I'm glad I decided to, because this is a really hefty box. And lastly, they had two hardcover comics I really wanted to pick up. They do have a comic section, and occasionally we'll get really premium titles mixed in with other independent and random comics. So it's always fun to look through their website, because a lot of times you'll encounter things you've just never heard of, and it just puts it on your radar, I guess. But these I've wanted to get, and I was very excited to find them, and for such cheap prices. So this is the Dynamite hardcover of the Batman crossover with the Shadow. This is the Murder Geniuses, and I have read this before, but I've never owned a physical copy, and definitely not the nice hardcover. And again, this was absurdly cheap, as all of their items are. So I was ecstatic that there was something Shadow related on the website, and it was also the nice hardcover edition of the Batman crossover. So this was a must. Then they also had one of these, I don't think DC does these anymore, but I think it was such a cool idea. But they started bundling the DC animated movies with the actual comics they were based on, and basically bundling, I thought it was just DVD, but it's actually DVD and Blu-ray and a digital copy, although I'm sure it's probably expired by now, with a hardcover edition of said comic. And for some reason or another, I've never owned a physical copy of Batman Year One, and they had this edition on sale in their comics section for less than $10. And again, I thought it was just the DVD included, and I've of course read this many times, and I've seen the animated feature, but I didn't have a copy of it. But then this arrived, and it actually is DVD and Blu-ray, and it's it's hardcover. So this is basically the hardcover edition, the standard version, not the big deluxe or omnibus or, super collector's edition. But then there's like a little card stock page in the back with the 2 discs inside. And, you know, it's in really nice shape. This is less expensive than what even the paperback version would cost you brand new. So I was like, is this for real? Seriously? The only thing is, of course, the year one was recolored when they first, I think when they first put it out in collected form back in the 80s. And so I think it's only in like the big deluxe super hardcover omnibus edition. I never know which names are for which edition because the famous comics they do so many times. But there is one, I think the biggest edition actually does include the original coloring of the original issue comics. So you have both versions. And the only other way to get that is to get original issues, and to get those in good shape, it's gonna cost you a bit. There are some cool comparisons, I think, on a couple Reddit pages, which is where I first really heard about it. I think it would be cool to have that available in maybe a less expensive version, but this is the version I'm used to, and this is the major in print version in terms of this is how it's looked ever since it was first collected in trade paperback form. But yeah, I was really surprised. This edition was so nice, and actually a hardcover, and with the really nice art from the standard paperback and hardcover trade version. And yeah, it also includes the animated film on Blu-ray in addition to DVD. So these are great values for the money if you find them. Again, I think DC stopped doing these, and I know they did a couple others, so I will be kind of looking out for those if I stumble across any more cheap editions like this. But yeah, this is an absolute steal on Hamilton Books right now. I think it was literally like $6.95, and it's still sealed in the plastic. So that was like, wow. So this is my stack I just picked up from Hamilton Books. It is only a small portion of what I originally had in my cart, and when I saw what my cart looked like at first, and I was like, oh dear, I've done it again. But that's how Hamilton Books is. You go on their website and you'll spend hours just looking through their catalog, finding all kinds of crazy and awesome looking books and things you've never heard of, and then you have to whittle said cart down, and then you may miss out on a few things here and there that sell out. But it's a wonderful, very easy to use website, and a really wonderful business that I highly encourage anyone to check out. And their customer service and attention to care and detail, and their shipping, and their shipping is all flat rate. It's $4 for every order, no matter how big or small it is, anywhere, I think in the continental U.S. And just an extremely wonderful shopping experience every time. So if you have any book or media needs, and you find those items on Hamilton Books, I strongly encourage you to support independent businesses and try them out, because they are a wonderful company. So this has just been what I picked up from Hamilton Books this time around. And as always, I hope you have enjoyed my babbles about classic films and books and comic books and physical media collecting. And as always, thank you ever so much for watching.